Many adults over 60 make the same mistake the moment they hear the words type 2 diabetes. They walk straight to the refrigerator, grab every piece of cheese they can find, and throw it away. But what if that decision is actually hurting their blood sugar instead of helping it? For years, people were taught to fear saturated fat and avoid cheese completely. They believed cheese automatically damaged the heart, raised glucose, and made diabetes worse. But modern nutrition science is beginning to reveal a very different story. The truth is this: certain types of cheese may actually help support more stable blood sugar when eaten the right way. Not processed cheese, not oversized portions, and not the sugary cheese products hiding in many grocery stores. I'm talking about real cheese with specific nutrients that may slow glucose absorption, improve fullness, support insulin function, and even help reduce dangerous cravings later in the day. In fact, some studies now show that fermented dairy foods may be linked to better metabolic health and lower risk of type 2 diabetes over time. So why are so many people still afraid of cheese? Because almost nobody explains the difference between the right cheese and the wrong cheese. Today, you'll discover 5 cheeses many doctors and nutrition researchers consider surprisingly helpful for people managing prediabetes or type 2 diabetes after 60. And the number 1 cheese on this list contains a little-known nutrient connected to both pancreas function and artery health. Cheese affects blood sugar very differently from the foods most people blame for glucose spikes. The reason starts with something called the glycemic index, a measurement showing how quickly a food raises blood sugar after eating it. Most cheeses have a glycemic index close to 0. That means cheese does not create the fast glucose surge that foods like white bread, cereal, soda, or pastries often cause within minutes. But the science becomes more interesting after that. Cheese still contains protein and fat, and both affect blood sugar in a slower, delayed way. About 30 to 60% of the protein inside cheese can eventually be converted into glucose through a natural process in the liver. This happens gradually over several hours instead of immediately after eating. Fat slows digestion even more. Instead of creating a sharp spike, cheese produces a much gentler and slower glucose response over time. Think about it this way. Bread is like throwing paper into a fire. It burns fast, flares quickly, and disappears quickly. Cheese behaves more like a slow-burning piece of wood. The effect is steadier, slower, and much less aggressive on the bloodstream. This is exactly why portion size matters so much. A small serving of cheese may actually help stabilize blood sugar because the protein and fat slow down how quickly carbohydrates from the rest of the meal enter the bloodstream. But very large portions can eventually create more delayed glucose elevation several hours later. Researchers also discovered that protein and fat from cheese may stimulate hormones connected to fullness and appetite control, including GLP-1, the same hormone pathway involved in several modern blood sugar medications. This helps explain why many people feel satisfied longer after meals containing moderate amounts of real cheese. The key is not avoiding cheese completely. The key is choosing the right type, the right portion, and understanding how your body responds over time. Fresh mozzarella may be one of the most overlooked cheeses for supporting healthier blood sugar after 60. And the reason has far more to do with your gut than your glucose meter. Unlike heavily processed cheese products, fresh mozzarella is naturally fermented. During fermentation, beneficial bacterial cultures develop inside the cheese, and these bacteria may help support a healthier gut microbiome over time. Why does this matter for diabetes? Because your gut is now considered one of the most important control centers for metabolism and insulin sensitivity. Scientists have discovered that certain healthy gut bacteria produce compounds called short-chain fatty acids, especially one called butyrate. Butyrate plays several important roles inside the body. It helps calm low-grade inflammation, supports the lining of the digestive tract, and may improve how efficiently cells respond to insulin. Some research also suggests these compounds may help protect pancreatic beta cells, the specialized cells responsible for producing insulin. When the microbiome becomes unhealthy, inflammation tends to rise quietly throughout the body. Over time, this may worsen insulin resistance and make blood sugar harder to stabilize, especially in older adults. Fresh mozzarella may help support a healthier internal environment because it combines protein, beneficial fats, and natural fermentation in a way that creates a much gentler glucose response compared to processed snack foods. One older American woman removed all cheese from her diet after being diagnosed with prediabetes because she believed all saturated fat was dangerous. But she constantly felt hungry between meals and struggled with afternoon cravings. Her doctor later suggested adding small portions of fresh mozzarella with tomatoes, olive oil, and vegetables several times per week. Within a few months, her energy became steadier and her blood sugar readings improved noticeably. There is one important warning, though. Sodium levels in mozzarella vary widely between brands. Older adults with high blood pressure should always read labels carefully and choose lower sodium options whenever possible. The goal is not eating large amounts. Even moderate portions may help support a healthier gut environment, steadier appetite control, and better metabolic balance over time. Many adults over 60 believe their blood sugar problems begin with what they eat at dinner. But in reality, the real damage often starts much later in the afternoon, during those quiet hours when hunger suddenly appears and cravings become difficult to control. This is exactly where cottage cheese becomes surprisingly powerful. Cottage cheese contains one of the highest protein-to-calorie ratios found in any common dairy food. A small serving provides a large amount of slow-digesting protein with very little sugar. That combination changes how your body behaves for the next several hours after eating. When you eat enough protein early in the day, your digestive system releases important satiety hormones that help quiet appetite naturally. These hormones send signals to the brain telling your body that it is satisfied, making it far easier to avoid cookies, chips, crackers, or sugary snacks later in the afternoon. This matters enormously after age 60 because many blood sugar spikes do not come from major meals. They come from repeated small snacks eaten when energy crashes and cravings appear. Cottage cheese helps interrupt that cycle before it begins. There is also another hidden benefit. Cottage cheese naturally contains calcium, and researchers have found that healthy calcium intake may support better insulin sensitivity over time. This does not create dramatic overnight changes, but consistent daily intake may quietly support healthier glucose regulation month after month. One older American man explained that every afternoon around 4 p.m., he felt tired, shaky, and constantly searched for something sweet. Instead of reaching for packaged snacks, he began eating a small bowl of plain cottage cheese with fresh berries and chopped walnuts during the late morning. Within several weeks, his afternoon cravings became far less intense, and his energy stayed more stable through the evening. But the type of cottage cheese matters greatly. Many supermarket versions contain fruit syrup, flavored sauces, or added sugars that completely remove the metabolic benefits. Some contain nearly as much sugar as dessert yogurt. Always choose plain cottage cheese with simple ingredients and no added syrup or fruit concentrate. The easiest way to enjoy it is with fresh strawberries, blueberries, cucumber slices, herbs, black pepper, or a drizzle of olive oil. Some people also spread it on whole grain toast instead of sweet breakfast spreads. Small changes like this may seem simple, but over time, they can help reduce unnecessary snacking, stabilize energy, and support healthier blood sugar patterns throughout the day. Here's your section written in a natural documentary health style, optimized for retention and safe wording, around your requested length. Many adults over 60 hear the words type 2 diabetes and immediately remove every cheese product from their kitchen. The refrigerator gets cleaned out overnight. Cheddar disappears. Mozzarella is avoided. Parmesan gets pushed to the back shelf and forgotten. For years, people have been told that saturated fat is automatically dangerous and that cheese belongs on the never eat again list after a diabetes diagnosis. But modern nutrition science is beginning to show a very different picture. The truth is not that all cheese is harmful. The real issue is choosing the wrong type, eating too much, and combining it with highly processed foods that overload the body with refined carbohydrates. In fact, certain cheeses may actually help support steadier blood sugar levels when eaten correctly and in moderate portions. This surprises many people because cheese behaves very differently inside the body compared to bread, cereal, pastries, or sugary snacks. Most natural cheeses contain very little carbohydrate, which means they do not create the rapid glucose spikes that damage energy stability over time. Some varieties also contain protein, healthy fats, probiotics, and important nutrients connected to insulin function and metabolic health. Even more interesting, researchers now believe some fermented cheeses may help support the gut microbiome, slow digestion, improve satiety, and reduce the intense cravings that many adults experience later in the day. And here is the part almost nobody explains clearly. Not all cheese works the same way. Some cheeses are heavily processed and provide very little benefit. Others may quietly support healthier glucose control, appetite regulation, and even long-term metabolic function in adults over 60. Today, you'll discover 5 types of cheese many doctors and nutrition researchers now view very differently than they did years ago. For each one, you'll learn what happens inside the body after eating it, how much is considered reasonable, and why the right choice may completely change the way you think about cheese and diabetes. Ricotta may be one of the most underestimated foods for people trying to manage blood sugar after 60. Most people see it as a soft cheese used in pasta dishes or desserts, but inside the body, ricotta behaves very differently from most cheeses, and the reason comes down to the type of protein it contains. Most traditional cheeses are made primarily from casein protein, which digests slowly. Ricotta is different because it is made from whey, the liquid portion left behind during cheese production. That detail changes everything metabolically. Whey protein is absorbed more rapidly and contains very high levels of an amino acid called leucine. Scientists now understand that leucine plays a major role in activating the body's natural GLP-1 pathway. GLP-1 is the same hormone system targeted by many modern diabetes medications because it helps slow digestion, improve satiety, and support healthier insulin response after meals. This does not mean ricotta works like medication, but it does show why researchers are paying so much attention to whey-based foods in metabolic health studies. In several clinical studies, consuming whey protein before or alongside meals helped reduce after-meal glucose spikes significantly compared to meals without it. Researchers believe this happens because whey protein encourages the release of incretin hormones that help the pancreas respond more efficiently while also slowing gastric emptying. Think of it like this. Instead of sugar flooding into the bloodstream all at once, the body releases energy more gradually and smoothly. For many older adults, that steady effect matters enormously during the afternoon hours. 1 year. Old man described feeling exhausted and shaky almost every day around 4 p.m. He would suddenly crave cookies, crackers, or anything sweet just to feel normal again. His blood sugar readings looked unpredictable, even though he thought he was eating carefully. After replacing his usual processed snack with a small serving of plain ricotta mixed with herbs, olive oil, and a few almonds, those afternoon crashes slowly became less frequent. Within several weeks, his pre-dinner glucose readings appeared steadier and his cravings became easier to control. Ricotta also offers another advantage for older adults. It contains high-quality protein without the heavy salt load found in many processed cheeses. That makes it easier to include in balanced meals without overwhelming the body with sodium. The best way to use ricotta is simple and practical. Spread a few spoonfuls on whole grain toast, mix it with cinnamon and berries for breakfast, stir it into scrambled eggs, or combine it with fresh herbs as a savory afternoon snack. The key is keeping portions moderate and avoiding sweetened ricotta products loaded with added sugar. Sometimes the most powerful support for healthier blood sugar is not removing foods completely, but choosing foods that work with your body instead of against it. Most people think Parmesan is simply a topping for pasta. A little flavor sprinkled over food and forgotten after the meal ends. But authentic aged Parmesan may quietly be one of the most powerful cheeses for supporting healthy blood sugar and aging after 60. I am not talking about the powdered cheese in plastic containers. I mean real aged Parmigiano Reggiano that has been slowly matured for 18 to 24 months. During that long aging process, something remarkable happens inside the cheese itself. The lactose almost completely disappears, making it much easier for older adults to tolerate. At the same time, the protein becomes highly concentrated. Just a small serving contains an impressive amount of high-quality protein with almost no effect on blood sugar levels. But the real reason Parmesan stands out is something most people have never heard about: vitamin K2. Aged Parmesan contains one of the richest natural sources of vitamin K2 found in food. Scientists are now studying how vitamin K2 may help support insulin function, healthy circulation, and calcium balance throughout the body. This matters enormously after 60. Without enough K2, calcium may slowly accumulate inside arteries and soft tissues where it does not belong. Over time, this may affect circulation, flexibility of blood vessels, and overall cardiovascular health. Researchers have found that adults with higher K2 intake often show healthier metabolic aging patterns and better long-term vascular support. For people managing type 2 diabetes, this becomes even more important because elevated blood sugar is often linked to faster arterial stiffness over time. One woman I worked with in her late 60s had early signs of bone loss and rising blood sugar at the same time. She believed cheese was harmful and avoided it completely for years. After learning how to use small amounts of real aged Parmesan alongside vegetables, soups, and balanced meals, she noticed steadier energy, fewer cravings, and improved eating consistency over the following months. Parmesan also delivers intense flavor in very small portions, which naturally helps with portion control. 1 or 2 tablespoons can completely transform a meal without overwhelming your daily nutrition goals. Sometimes the most powerful foods are not the ones people eat in large amounts. Sometimes they are the small, traditional foods that quietly support the body day after day for decades. Here's a practical grocery store rule that can quietly protect your blood sugar more than most people realize. Not every product called cheese behaves like real cheese inside the body. Some versions are heavily processed and may work against the very goals older adults are trying to support. The first product I ask my patients to limit is processed American cheese slices. These are often made with emulsifiers, modified starches, vegetable oils, preservatives, and flavor additives that change how the body responds after eating. While the packaging may say cheese, the ingredient list tells a very different story. Many people are surprised to learn these products contain very little of the protein structure, fermentation benefits, or vitamin content found in traditional aged cheeses. The second trap is pre-shredded cheese in plastic bags. Manufacturers frequently coat the shreds with anti-caking powders like potato starch or cellulose to prevent clumping. Those tiny hidden carbohydrates may seem small, but repeated several times a day, they can quietly affect glucose control more than expected. Freshly grating your own cheese at home avoids this issue completely. The third product to watch carefully is cream cheese. In small portions, it can fit into a balanced meal, but its fat-to-protein ratio is much less favorable than cheeses like cottage cheese, ricotta, or Parmesan. You often get far more calories with much less protein support for satiety and muscle maintenance. A simple rule makes shopping much easier. Turn the package around and read the ingredients. Traditional cheese should usually contain only milk, salt, cultures, and enzymes. The longer and more complicated the ingredient list becomes, the further the product moves away from real fermented cheese. Portion size still matters too. Even healthier cheeses can become excessive when sodium intake climbs too high, especially for older adults managing blood pressure, kidney concerns, or fluid retention. Some people also respond differently to saturated fat, which is why regular cholesterol monitoring remains important. The goal is not fear. The goal is choosing better quality foods that work with your body instead of quietly creating more metabolic stress over time. Your future health is not decided by fear. It is decided by the small choices you repeat every single day at your table. For years, many adults with type 2 diabetes were told to remove every form of cheese from their lives without ever learning the difference between highly processed products and real traditional cheese. But science is showing a much more balanced picture. The right cheese, in the right amount, at the right time, may quietly support steadier blood sugar, better appetite control, stronger bones, and healthier aging after 60. Fresh mozzarella may support the gut microbiome. Cottage cheese may help reduce afternoon cravings. Feta may support healthier body fat distribution. Ricotta may naturally stimulate important satiety hormones, and aged Parmesan provides nutrients connected to both bone and metabolic health. The goal is not perfection. The goal is learning how to choose wisely instead of eating fearfully. Start simple this week. Replace one processed snack with a real cheese paired with vegetables or protein. Read ingredient labels more carefully. Watch how your body responds over the next few hours, not just the first 30 minutes after eating. And most importantly, remember this: sustainable health is built from consistent habits, not extreme restriction. Now, I want to hear from you. Which cheese surprised you the most in today's video? And which one are you most curious to try first? Leave your answer in the comments below. And if you enjoy science-based nutrition videos designed for adults over 60, subscribe to the channel and join us for more practical health advice that helps support stronger energy, healthier blood sugar, and better aging naturally. After everything we discussed today, I want you to remember one simple truth: cheese is not the enemy. Fear and misunderstanding are. The people who stay active, independent, and mentally sharp into their 70s, 80s, and beyond are usually not the people who live with endless restriction. They are the people who learn how to choose wisely, eat calmly, and build habits their body can actually sustain for years. The right cheese, in the right portion, at the right time, may quietly support steadier energy, better appetite control, stronger bones, and healthier blood sugar balance as you age. Now, I would love to hear from you. Which of these cheeses surprised you the most? And what kind of cheese is sitting in your refrigerator right now? Leave your answer in the comments below, because your experience may help someone else watching today. And if you know an older parent, spouse, or friend who stopped eating cheese after hearing scary nutrition advice, share this video with them. Subscribe to the channel for more science-based healthy aging videos designed to help you stay strong, confident, and independent for many years to come. As always, this video is for educational purposes only and should support, not replace, the guidance of your healthcare professional.